Feel my sister, feel the breeze of time, floating deep in dreams where dimensions rhyme. Your essence sparkles like the stars above. In every heartbeat I can feel your love. Your spirit guides my way, with power from the earth to sway. Your essence makes us free in every song we sing. With the Ozark room, let the healing begin. In a dance of light, where spirits flutter by, we lift our hearts together like eagles in the sky. Supernatural journeys through the cosmic night, channeling the strength, illuminating light. The whispered tales of our bonds, so divine. 20 years in a dream, forever intertwined. Warriors with wisdom deep and true. Your essence makes us free in every song we sing. With the Ozark room, let the healing begin. In a dance of light, where spirits flutter by, we lift our hearts together like eagles in the sky. So bless this moment, let the rhythms flow. Dear sister, let your essence glow.
Okay, coming to you with Mama Orsic, whose mantra is remember, recover, return. And greetings, biggest to you, brothers and sisters who are seeking Maria's teachings. We will start with what is an interview with Miguel Serrano. I believe this was in sometime in the 80s, I believe. But I think this is very important things to talk about, and then we'll go into them more. Does your esotericism, and I know we've been saying we're not occultists, but what he means is these teachings are very hard to understand. They're not surface level is what he means. It's not that they're not available, that they're hidden. It's that they're hidden under the mind control that you have, I have, we have. Does your esotericism imply any form of ritual or worship? Yes, it does, he says. We here in Chile performed public ceremonies similar to those performed at the Congress of Nuremberg, like the Autos Sacramentales, but now no longer do we so in public. The rituals can be on the equinoxes and solstices. Also, we use very small groups concentrating on the Führer, or, listen to this, projecting the mind in order to fight or destroy the contrary forces of the enemy. And no lie, like I believe it was the third week after I knew she was Maria, she said, ask me anything you want to know. After I completely left my body, forgot what the fuck was going on, I'm sitting there with her. She says, "Ask me anything you want to know." And I said, um, I'm not kidding. I was like a child, and I went, "Could you tell me something that can help me in my everyday life? Is there things I should be doing in my everyday life?" This was after she kind of made, and I say this in the most authentic, real way. She kind of rightly made fun of me for being so impressed with Manly P. Hall, um, uh, Madam Fatsky, blah blah Fatsky had a little wolf. And she said, "Well, it's kind of my opinion." She was like, "But I knew you before you came here, and I knew you well." She said, "I think it would help you to read about and read the words of Hitler and like concentrate on him, on who he is as a person." I go, "Wow, I didn't expect that. Like, that's so interesting." And she was like, "His best friend wrote a book. Get that book first." So the same thing on both levels. Maria had told me way before I ever read this interview, right? What can we do? Concentrate on our Führer, which means also who he is the avatar of. If he's the ultimate avatar, clearly the avatar is a projection of a true self into a matrix, right? Do you believe events can be changed magically? That is, via ritual magic and meditation, right? Can we change the matrix? Yes, it is possible, but it is a tricky and dangerous affair. Today, the enemy works mentally using the Kabbalah and electronic apparatuses, projecting subatomic particles in order to control minds. Yes, today, the central war is psychotronic, technotronic, cybertronic. The principal war is a mental one called camo-manasic. This means that the enemy is intervening in the mental atmosphere of the Aryan, manipulating their thoughts and separating the mental from the physical, right? Manipulating thoughts and separating the mental from the physical, altering the karma and its spiritual development. Maria would tell me over and over, "You are your physical body because you created it. It couldn't be someone else." In a way, the whole world is hypnotized by these means, combined with subliminal messages found in today's media, as well as drugs and drinks like Coca Cola, Pepsi Cola, etc. Yes, the mental war can be fought only with similar strategies. Of course, this needs a special discipline and a training like the esoteric SS or the ancient religious military orders of the past, right? So, up to date And let me make an adjustment and be right back with you. And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, what's really going on. The world in general has been waiting many years for World War III, which is really, they've been waiting to restart World War II, which was the restart of World War One. And truly, this is what I've been told and I've been taught. This great world war that never ended, right? It was just they took a pause. You see how they're doing this over and over on purpose. They have so much control. They pause wars and shit because they're acting out a ritual. They're acting out a ceremony. It's the ceremony of the end of everything. And it's a very long, drawn out thing. Check this out. On that level, these people have been waiting and waiting for the right moment to restart World War II. Except they've destroyed Germany. So check it out. The plan has always been to stab Russia in the back, stab the bear in the back. And we're coming to you from St. Lucifer, and I'm telling you the truth. Maria Orsic told me she was going to give me 2 dreams. When I first met her, she told me, I'm going to give you 2 dreams about that. She said, the real Jesus is my husband, and he's who you met. And I'm going to give you 2 dreams so that people won't say, you were just tripping on mushrooms. I mean, she literally said this to me. And in one night, I had 2 dreams. Not, 2 nights with 2. No, in one night, I had both dreams. But simply, one dream was this nice young bear that I met in the woods because I had ran away from prison. Imagine that. And I ran so far, I outran the prison guard dogs. And a bear helped me cover my tracks and go up into his little home and sleep and rest until the dogs were gone completely. And the next morning, me and the bear were telepathically communicating, and we were like best buddies. He took me to get some berries. He took me to get some food. We were holding hands. We were walking down, like he said to me, you want to go down the human path so it's easier? And there we went. The bear was walking upright, holding my hand. And no bullshit. Somehow the dream clicked and switched, and I was in the home of a lady, a friend that Maria had told me I had known before I came here. She totally proved it. And this lady took on like a archetypal image of the American good-hearted person that doesn't know what's happening and would disagree if they knew. And we start hearing this screaming and this, what sounds like a pack of dogs. And I look out, and there was a giant bear. He had obviously killed this dog and was chasing these children, like teenagers. And they were like screaming at the top of their lungs. And it was like totally supernatural. I like ran through her little screened in porch, whatever, backyard. She had like a screened in room, outdoor room. I ran through it and like screamed at the bear to try to like distract it from the children. It stopped and I thought it was gonna like just be distracted for a second. It like paused and then it just started running towards the house like as fast as it could. And I just thought, damn, dude, this is like a screened in place. It ain't gonna stop that bear at all. So I just ran to the house and locked the door. And like literally within like 3 seconds, the bear was at the door, like trying to get through the door. And I was like, man, it's gonna bust the glass, like, because there was a window by it, but it didn't seem smart enough to know. And it like tried to get through the door, it tried to like ram through the door with its head and shit. I mean, it was crazily angry. Do you hear me? Remember how nice and sweet the other bear was? That other bear gave like 20 million people in World War II. And for anyone to say that it doesn't mean anything is just, it makes you a horrible person. Every Russian person is as valuable as anyone else to us. So, the continuation of the war is that the whole war was started in the back room of a English, castle. That this was a plan for world domination, and it was a grand illusion plan that would encompass religion, economics, warfare, education, everything, right? And it would be the ultimate divide between those who do what they want and those who are their slaves. While the teachers of the do what thou want, do what thou wilt, are above them even, and are hidden. And the whole key to the reality of this plan, who was the originator of the plan? Aleister Crowley. He had channeled it from these hidden writers of Kabbalistic commentaries, in which it would come to be the Mandela effect on steroids in the Matrix after 1948, right? Okay, until 1948, the Bible and the Kabbalah and this stuff really wasn't worldwide known to be behind the conspiracy. These were all Masonic things. It was worldwide known as Masonry. But when it came to warfare and control of economics and the restoration of the British Empire but bigger than ever, as the spiritual empire of Israel. It's called British Israelitism. And Alistair Crowley explained to them that this is a goddamn myth. And it's set up for who is willing to make it come true, to be it, who's going to step up and say, I'm the beast. And he was working with, like Lou said, these are very long ago forgotten things, but he was working with not only human beings who had recently died, but also Aldebaran gods that used to be involved with the smaller human, but no longer. So it's like Maria said, if we said the names of these people, these are kind of what you know as like demons and Satan, were these actual giants that were like, they're not on Aleister Crowley's side, but they're neutral age, you might say, or knowledge. And let me tell you, this goes back to DNA ancestry, right? And it don't mean white people are good or bad or nothing. It's that these people believed in a sort of mafia slave, rule the slaves or you'll be one mentality. You got to understand their mentality is if we don't rule the world, we'll be the slaves of the world. So these completely DNA wise, white European English people started a secret cult with the top sellout pedophile rabbis of the late 1800s, the dedicated followers of the Kabbalist commentators of the late 1700s. Like Maria said, if I said these names, we'd all throw up. We don't even want to know the names of these horrible people that Crowley got the shit from. He was, and whatever he was channeling, like Maria said, whatever he was channeling in that book of the law, from the pyramid, sounded way too much like the Bible to me. Talking about wrath and human sacrifice. Like Maria said, we don't have nothing to do with that. What we have to do with is sex magic, pleasing each other, bringing each other pleasure, and living in that vibration. That's where we live. She said we don't live in the atmosphere, dimensions, or anything of these people. Like she said, Joe, you can't imagine, or maybe you can, the trouble that this brought. And you're watching it happen with Iraq, Afghanistan, now Iran, before, countless smaller countries that couldn't defend themselves. Right? She said it's still rippling out from the very first occult groups saying to the Thule Society, whatever you want to call it, sending me a message. They thought that I had hundreds of followers and hundreds of, people in the VRIL Society. Little did they know there was at the most 7 of us. At the very most 5 girls more than me and Sig. And all the people involved with the VRIL Propulsion Laboratory were SS people from my father. And I barely had anything to do with it. Because It's not my specialty. Magic was my specialty. Right? So, rippling out still. If you resist us, we will do like the Bible, consider you our enemy, and we will kill your children. And I mean by the millions. It's scary. It's like in a way scary to sit here and talk about the very, land I was born in. I mean, and just how dangerous this whole place and shit has become. Like, and because I'm talking about World War II or something, it like, I know I'm a fair, just person, but obviously these things can be taken in such a dramatically different way. But we're talking about a religion, a belief system of avatars and the true self on many levels, becoming one with someone and being able to switch bodies, right? And so what we see coming down from the continuous of this great war, because I didn't say it earlier, but I was going to, that Crowley, in his working with the giants, like I said, they were like more neutral, was like, give me the, blow by blow of how the giants extincted themselves in this energy war. And they literally came to know the story so well that this is your book of Revelation, the beast and all this. And that's why he's 666, the beast, because he made it come back to life on a global level for real. And like Maria said, like 20 published books that nobody cares about. And it all is happening before our eyes. And I was being shown all this leading straight up to right before this date. So today's February 28th. So this was February 19th, 2020. It's officially 1 month before the lockdown, COVID lockdown. And I was dancing around having a good time with Maria. And I wasn't as familiar as I am now, but there was like a feeling I knew when we were like switching bodies. Even if it was just for an instant, like she said, she concentrates and it's like just switching bodies for a moment, for a thought, for a single thought. And it was like we did that and out of my mind, like telepathically. And it's like we switch and switch back. And from her doing this, out of my mind, I went, what's the next 9/11? The next big fake world event? And she's like, you're in it. You're in it right now. Right? And, the Bible talks about angels pouring out plagues on the innocent people. People cheer. Oh, good. Nice, kind Jesus pouring out diseases on innocent people have nothing to do with any of it, right? It just proves it's a population program disguised as a prophecy. And people are like, but it was written before. Yeah, I know, because the whole Matrix is 4.5 million years old. So, yeah. Yeah, everything's written before. Everything's a fucking prophecy when there is no time. When you're in a video game, you know what I mean? Don't be confused. Like, that's not supernatural. Uh, tell me something personal. Tell me some magic in your own life, not God made a prophecy and it came true well, the prophecy is he's going to kill everyone that don't believe in Jesus, starting with the Jews. Because crazy as it seems, the whole thing is upside down, backwards, that it's a small group of very concentrated power of magic, like a mafia that extends out into ghost and, you know, other the Zion inner earth. There they have their followers that reincarnate in the matrix. That's the actual reincarnation. And they too, right, are laying somewhere on Venus, jacked into this. You understand it? And they too are repeating their lies over and over, just like they would when they died, until they meet the requirements of their true self and believe, like Maria said, believe. You don't even want to know what that's like for them. Like she said, this is where you get into this, horrible violence, hatred, rape, murder. You know what I mean? Things that it just seems unreal that people do and have done to each other. Like, it's unreal. And so that next week, so that next week, we had planned our first ever group ritual in honor of the day Miguel Serrano left this earth. And this was like 2020, so it was 11 years. It was 11th year anniversary of Miguel Serrano's death on earth and return home. It's a celebration that he finally was reunited with the goddess, the great Irene. Okay? And previous to this, some like 7 years before this, even in like 2013 or 2014, one of my rituals, I drank my tea, and as I felt like I was really, like many weeks, an earthquake was happening, and I knew, man, this is when I leave my body. And I kind of welcome it because I'm like, it makes me forget everything. So let's just do this. A couple times it had been scary, but 99% of the time I would just be there with Maria or something. Or there would be like maybe like a preview and then there with Maria. And um, as I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm about to leave my body. Right as I thought it was going to, right before actually, crazy. All of a sudden I just click and I seen Miguel Serrano, like as an old man, but not 92. Maybe as old as I was at the time. I don't know. It took a second for me to recognize him. And like when our eyes met and his blue eyes, is kind of like what snapped me. And I was like, you're Miguel Serrano. I thought it was just a picture. of him. No lie. And like when I said you're Miguel Serrano, it was like he was in like a meditation, and he like looked at me, and it made me kind of jump. And he said, "Fight and never give up, Joseph." And just instantly, like when he said never give up, it was gone. And I came there. This, like I said, was in 2013, 14 or so. So on 2020, February 28th, Maria had asked me, invite everyone that we've initiated to, honor Miguel Serrano. And we'll read some things. We'll do an energy cleansing. We'll try to, do our best to help people. The girls and my son, who was initiated into this, initiated into the level, the astral level of things, in general. That's what the initiation is, like an introduction, a real life experience, introduction to like, this is that other world that people talk about, And so I did shit all week, like this week. And this was actually the very week before. Yeah, I had did a couple different rituals. Like leading up, I did one. I think I actually took off work. But anyway, this was either the night. It wasn't the night of the group ritual. It was the preparation night for the group ritual. It was like Maria was like, "I'm going to help you. You're going to remember something very important for this." And she's like, "Remember." And it's a memory. So stay there as long as you want. Stay there all night. Don't worry about me or, if you're obeying. And I was like, huh? Like I wasn't totally sure what she meant, And like all of a sudden, click, and I'm sitting in like a artist studio, like painter, sculptor, pottery, I don't know, all kinds of shit. It's just, and it's a big room full of like art projects and paintings and sculptures, and I'm sitting at this table, like almost like a picnic table, but a little nicer. It was like a wood. It was very interesting. And anyway, across from me are Irene Clad Serrano, and Miguel Serrano. And my very first thought was, "You look like Marilyn Monroe." And literally my mind met her mind, and I said, "I now understand why I psychically, loved Marilyn Monroe so much." Like just the first, I was like, "She's you, you're her." Like, and it wasn't just how she looked. It was her attitude, the sound of her voice. I was like, man, this is one of the smartest people I've ever known. Like and it's not academic smart. Like there's like a foreshadowing in her attitude of like, I've already been there. I've already seen it. Like, I'm just being myself. I'm just being real. Like, I know what's real. I know. And I know what's real on the deepest levels. I've been there. I've paid the fucking price. And she was telling me that life, after the suffering, it goes so far away. It moves so far away from your consciousness. She said it no longer seems like me who died that day in the bed, drowning, my lungs drowning in my own blood. She was like a click, and it was over forever. Never, ever to be repeated again. And she was like, Miguel has been helping you. He's the one that was helping you stay alive as the enemy hunted you as a child. Like, and it just makes me practically know that, like, a lot of people who commit suicide, they're not really committing suicide. They're like they're fighting with another person inside of them, trying to convince them to commit suicide, which is even the interview we said, this warfare being conducted in your own mental space, coinciding outside with fighter jets and bombs being dropped on people that have nothing to do with anything. It's just, it's really like any of the Indians, like, hold it. You came over here, so your real objective was to kill all of us and take our land. Like, we don't really hate you for being good warriors. We hate you for coming in the pretense and the inauthenticity of saying, we're here to help you. We're here to teach you about Jesus. And I spent quite some time in that memory talking with Irene Serrano about each one of Miguel Serrano's books. And of course, when it got to the Golden Cord, and Resurrection of the Hero is kind of like the preview. But when it got to the Golden Cord, she said, of course, this is, the highest work where your mother, our mother, everyone's mother, Maria, was switching bodies with my husband and teaching him in real time. Not anything he didn't know, but when to say it, in what order to say it, and presenting him with a female perspective at all times on these natural laws that apply universally to everyone. What universally applies to everyone? The laws of nature and the energies that can be manipulated for your own good, for your own personality. Those are the objective things, the laws and the energy. Where did the energy come from? Where is its source? Maria said straight to me, I don't know. You tell me. Do you know? I don't know. Do you know? That's what she said. She said, what do you think? As far as you met with your true self, did someone create him? Did someone create your true self? I go, not according to him. According to him, I can't even understand him, but we've always been here. And we didn't really so much grow in knowledge and that. According to him, it's him creating through me literally a life story. And the whole real myth about these willing sacrifice of like the son for his true love or for his true comrade who might be his parents. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Could be his biological brother, but it might not be, right? Check this out. The myth that Maria says was changed was that the true self was so intrigued in love with the idea of being in love that he was willing to create another him for the purpose of meeting other people. It's like creating a profile and an avatar online. I mean, it's not any, like Maria said, it's literally no different. Right? This is what Miguel Serrano was telling me at this table. That he didn't really, even know himself how directly he was restoring like the ancient way of our people. It's just that simple. It's been taken from us. You know, they tell you the way of our people is to, go to church on Sunday, eat a bread and eat a cracker and grape juice. No. The ancient way was to be in touch with people you love on other dimensions, on other levels of reality, and never lose touch with them. That's what we call our ancestors. And we strictly were taught by our parents that they had experiences, that they existed before they came here, before I gave birth to you. Your Irish mother would tell you, I was somebody in a different world before I gave birth to you. I could have been in another world where you were my father or you were my brother. This is what we knew life to be, a mystery, not this set judgment that I hate you. That being doesn't exist. God is not a being, except for your dog, which, like Maria said, we'll say cat. But Miguel Serrano at the table, he said, that was really me that said to you, fight and don't give up and never give up. He said, that was really me. And he said, I want you to know that that happened. He said, I do know you from before we came here. He said, but I want you to know that that happened because of Maria, because you're her son, means so much to us, means that you vibrate like her, means you're going to pick up the warfare where I left off, about the gods, about the land, about the ancestors, about the magic. He said, he told me exactly what Maria had been telling me. He said, I would go and follow an inner voice. I would drink my tea, as you say. He said, believe me, in Chile, the Indians know everything about every plant. And I had adapted to my plants. And an everyday ritual, just like you. I would drink my tea. He said they weren't, sometimes he said they did have mushrooms, but they more had the vine, which is like the MAO ayahuasca vines, that you combine with almost any plant and turns it somewhat psychedelic. Because almost every plant has some DMT in it for one thing, and that's really, in general, what it all is it all registers because it's very similar. to what is naturally produced by the sunlight in your pineal gland. You hear that? It's just the plant version. And you can ingest it and incorporate it into your bloodstream, into your cells, into your, essentially your DNA, only by one means and one means only, at least orally, by liquid. Smoking is a whole different thing. So this is the only way this way. You have to drink. You have to drink a plant, a vine, passion flower, stearing root, ayahuasca vine. You have to drink this first because it will stop your liver from producing the enzymes that would normally dissolve the DMT before it gets into your bloodstream, before it goes to your brain. You tell me that this isn't a real miracle, that this plant communicates with your liver and says, hey, don't make that certain enzyme because this is magic being done on purpose. This is what Miguel Serrano was telling me. He said, I come to find out from these Indians in Chile that this teaching about these plants, about these vines inhibiting the enzymes, came from the knowledge of a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed god that basically said they had a word very similar to Ireland. Druid. And they plainly said, man, we didn't really know any this they told him in the 1950s and 60s. Our ancestors told us that we had lived here for thousands of years before this man came from Ireland here and taught us to do this, which put us in touch with reality. Because if you're only looking at a tenth of a picture or so, you're not seeing the whole picture. Like they were like, this taught us that reality was way more than we thought, and that now we could make some progress because we were dealing on all levels, instead of just a little tiny percentage, right? And he told me, follow Maria each week. Let her lead you, and you will get the most out of your time and your energy. He said there's a connection between your karma feeling and your consciousness of like a balance of not good and evil, but am I using my time wisely? That's what he told me about Maria being the time goddess of time. He said only Maria can show you that the currency is time and timing. So he told me, so let her lead you psychically in your initiation, and your warfare will be successful. He was like, she is who I was meeting with in the forest. Like he said, I would drink my tea and a voice would tell me, a woman's voice would tell me, come to the forest. He said, this is by the Externstein in Germany. And he said, of course, I knew all about Maria. And I knew it was her, but she never had to say her real name. And told me, all I want you to call me is the white goddess, the white spirited goddess, the goddess of the color white, not the race. And I was like, wow. And he was like, know that she is my goddess, like she is yours. That I was in the holographic world in a meditation on Venus, and I couldn't remember. I knew something had happened after World War II. That's why I went to the Antarctica and in the South Pole, and I was willing to die because I had believed on the tip of my unconscious that the world had already ended. And I came back from the Antarctica not able really to explain it, but knowing beyond a doubt, like I never knew before, that reality was an illusion. That what we were living and seeing was somehow technotronic, and somehow it was only happening in my mind. And somehow it was based on something that had already happened even before World War II. Some kind of natural digression, natural spiraling downwards of all hope, right? That these suicidal, homicidal, torturous, cruel, villainous beings called men and women live among us and are willing to take our children's lives to hurt us. You know? And he said, the details to the Vril religion are the details that Maria Orsic gave me in the forest by the Externstein rock formation that looks way too much like the Jesus they stole and put on the cross, right? The image, the story, right? And he told me right there, he said, it doesn't matter what the Christians say, the Nordic myths say. I'm going to tell you why Balder died and what Odin whispered in his ear. I'm going to tell you why Odin hung on the cross for the knowledge of the runes. Odin was willing to go anywhere for the knowledge right now. Existentially, does anything, but can I be one with my wife, my magic Frigga? My magic Frigga, can we be one and never, ever, ever be separated, not even by death? I am willing to die if it takes that to automatically ensure that we'll never be separated. I'm willing to give my own life right now for that knowledge. I will sacrifice now, and I will, from another plane, help her with her grief to know that if this is what it takes, I'll do it. This is the true self saying, I'm willing to crucify the avatar, send him in the world where he's going to die for sure, to find her, to find she, to find the she, he, to find the her, him, for the he, she, for the him, her. This is a set religion that we believe that we can switch bodies and become one with each other. It is a process because nature is a process. That's why they call it the process church, because nature is a process. And they're trying to say to you, we're taking you through nature. Nature rapes. Nature kills. We're just part of nature. We're just a tornado. We're just another storm. And like Maria, who's here right now, is like, bullshit. You're evil. And you can dress it up in art, but we don't like it. We don't like you. And we'll never, ever mix energy with you. We'll always be here to put you to death spiritually. To spiritually fight you to the death. Anyone that's willing to use force and fraud against innocent people, period. And the very last things that I remember is I started to go into like that other world where he was older. Like the first time I seen him, when he was like, as he was talking, I started to like, it was so powerful. It was removing me from the reality. And I was like, oh, I got to listen. I got to listen to what the master is saying. And I couldn't. I was like leaving my body. And then I was back with him. And he was like, do you know why I said fight and never give up? I said, no. And he said, because it produced in you the fight that overcame the matrix. You're supposed to be dead. You're here. You did it. Hold your head up high. There's no church to give you an award, nobody to give you a donation, but we don't need it. We're sustained by magic love. He was like, what did Odin whisper in the Baldur's ear right before he died? Or at his funeral? He said to him, it comes true. Love without death is real. There is no death. There's only love without death is the only thing to us that is really, really real. It's our foundation that we'll always go back to. You're my comrade in my heart. I adore you.
A woman stands at the edge of the known, veiled in whispers where mysteries are sown. With eyes like stars in the shadowed night, she moves with dodge through hinge light. A dancer of visions, a keeper of keys, reading the language of cosmic seas. Her curls fall long like spirals of fate as she bends through dimensions and alters the state. They call her a prophet, a witch and a muse, that she drifted through realms that no one could choose. A voice in the void, soft as a sigh, hearing secrets in stardust beneath the sky. The universe. Her journals, they speak in code and in verse of beings that cross the universe. The world thought her lost, but she slipped through the seams into spaces uncharted, fueled by dreams. Some see a legend, others a ghost, a figure who haunts where the unknown goes. A whisper, a wonder,
a chainsaw thrown into the darkness she's found and in light unknown.